High FM, your station of choice since 2008.
This upcoming weekend is the IEC's final in-person voting station-based registration opportunity ahead of the local government elections. While online registration will continue until after the voter rolls close, we urge our community to go out and register as well as confirm that their voting station hasn't changed. Wendy Kahn, National Director of the Jewish Board of Deputies, is my guest now to talk about why the board is so vested in our community becoming active citizens. Wendy, welcome and thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you, Cherise.
So, talk about our registration and why it's so important.
So there's a very interesting dynamic that happens with voter registration because it's spoken about, and then one day the election is proclaimed and you cannot register anymore. You've lost the opportunity. And it's so incredibly frustrating because we know how important these elections are. We know that there are direct implications for me as a citizen of Johannesburg or a citizen of any city around this country. Who we elect is going to determine things like, will I get water? Will I get electricity? Will I be able to drive down the streets without getting a puncture because of the pothole? Will I be able to get service delivery like my rubbish being collected and the sewerage working and all these really basic things that we need for our city to run and for our lives to actually work? So to do that, you need to vote. It is such an easy process to register. And I'm going to just share it with you now, Cherise, and we'll share it again. All you need to do is to SMS 32810, 32810, and you send your ID number, and it will prompt you, and it will tell you where to vote. Just to even if you are already a voter, you're already registered, you've been voting since 1994, you still need to check that your voting station has not ended. And I'm now going to share with you an anecdote from a seasoned election observer, as you are as well, Cherise. But often what happens is people stand in a queue, and they stand in a queue maybe for 2 hours, maybe 3 hours, and they get to the front and they've got the voters roll, and they check up the election officials check up, and they say, oh no, you're not voting at Chapula. We've now moved you to Glen Hazel School. And people say, well, that's it. I am not hanging around anymore. Realizing that you are, what's the expression, cutting off your nose to spite your face. First of all, if that does happen, go get a cup of coffee and go and stand in the queue at Glen Hazel School. But secondly, be proactive. Check your registration. Check that you are still voting at the station where you've been voting since 1994, or maybe you've got a change of scene this time. And maybe that's also a lovely thing because you'll meet some new people, see some new scenery. But it's just really, really important to check the voter registration. And just again, all you have to do is you need to SMS 32810. And then just give your ID number, and it will tell you where you should be voting.
Wendy, what about our new young people coming through the system? How important is it that they register, and what do they need to do?
They need to, again, you can register online, and that's the beauty of it. And we went to the IEC launch, it's probably about 6 weeks ago, it's quite a while ago. They've got record number of people who have signed up to vote this year. And I think it's because of the electronic registration process. So easy. We should really be encouraging all our kids this year. The voting is in November. So everybody who's turned 18 this year is able to vote. And I keep saying, it's not just about you registering. You need to nag and nag and nag. Put it on your book club group, put it on your class mommy group, put it when you're having your bridge game, when you are out shopping. Ask everybody, have you registered? Because we don't want it to come next week when it's just too late.
Wendy, why is the board so passionate about active citizenry? And let's talk a little bit about Walk the Talk.
Yeah, so on Sunday, we had the extraordinary experience of leaving what we now call the Bagel Belt. The Bagel Belt is people who are brave and courageous and enthusiastic enough to cross Louis Botha. And we went out to the inner city, caught the Gautrain, ran across Park Station, which incidentally is looking magnificent, got onto a brand new metro rail train and went to Ellis Park so that we could walk through the inner city. And Sharice, I'm sure you'll agree with me, the inner city is looking magnificent, thanks to Josie, my Josie, who are block by block improving it. Magnificent art. But what really struck me was the possibilities. This is what our city can be. It can have beautiful roads. It can have security. It can have vibey, colorful personalities. This is what clean, efficient, good transport. That's what Johannesburg can be, and that's what every city around this country can be. But it can only be if we go out and vote.
I also want to talk about, what struck me, Wendy, about Walk the Talk is we often talk about how lucky our Jewish community are here in South Africa. But actually, South Africans are so essentially nice and friendly. Oh. And there was such a good yes, and the security guards along the way were so helpful. And I know you like me.
Having along the way.
And I know we caught trains and our trains, and I don't know about you, but I was super impressed by the helpfulness of the security along the way from arriving to leaving.
Security and the PRASA officials absolutely everybody that we engaged with had a big smile on their faces. And it was just, we were walking around in our T-shirts, and our T-shirts had boldly on the back of them, Jews for Josie. Jews for Josie. And underneath it said, schlepping through the streets of Joburg. And people they were laughing, they were loving it, they were commenting on it. I did not get one negative comment, not any of them. We had a team of 120. Not one person did not have a wonderful experience of people coming up and saying, what a lovely T-shirt you are wearing, and welcome, and this is great to have you part of today. That was just really amazing. Also, you and I both walked the 8 kilometers. We arrived well in time, and there was one of our team saying Kaddish, and they had a minyan. Tefillin out, loud and proud. And I just thought, wow, where in the world would you have a minyan with people proudly wearing their tefillin and their kippot and big Magen Davids on our T-shirts? I think that is really a world-class something that we can be proud of.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And it was absolutely amazing. And we kind of we so part of the fabric of South African society since we've arrived. And it's so important that we continue to be proudly Jewish and proudly South African.
Yeah, and I mean, really everywhere. We went last month, we went to June 16 in Soweto. Really, we were the people. It's just there's such an incredible warmth. In fact, the next day I was at the presidency, and the president came up to me and he said to me, "I saw you yesterday." It was a really, again, a lovely experience. Next month is Women's Month. Tomorrow is actually Women's Month. So in a week again, we will be going to Pretoria, and we will be participating in the memorial, the memory of the amazing women that marched to the Union buildings. We need to be part, as you said, of the fabric of our country. We need to be out there. We need to be Jews for Josie. We need to be Jews for Mzansi, and we need to be really taking our place in the African sun.
And on those beautiful words, thank you very much, Wendy Kahn, National Director, Jewish Board of Deputies.